Okay, Dune, Part 3 trailer just came out. Let's talk about it. I mean, first off, I think it's important to know who the director of photography is. Greig Fraser committed to the Beatles biopic. So we have Linus Sandgren, who has done stuff like La La Land and No Time to Die. I think it's important to know the style of the DP going into this to kind of know what to expect and why. So let's start here. Okay, so first of all, heavy film stock look coming from this beginning scene. That's interesting. We've got a pretty strong top-down source here. Not very, I mean, it's soft enough, but it's not as soft as like previous, super diffused top-down Dune, right? So that's pretty cool. Pretty harsh. Sun, CG, lots of CG.
You promised me that you would
More of that directional top-down. It's not very diffused,
never.
but it's pretty. It complements the cheeks. People call this butterfly lighting because of the shadow here under the nose. Very nice, very standard, very good.
Take power in
Probably
your
one
name.
light. CG.
You convinced me that this was your home.
Bounce. This is interesting.
That I was your home.
This is interesting here. I mean, I don't know if really the sand here has been raked to the degree that, this might be actually a CG shot, but I know they put in a ton of work in the desert to make the desert look like it does. I mean, my guess here, it's outside. A lot of Greig Fraser's work was outside in the previous Dunes, and I mean, using fully natural light and just choosing when and where to put the subjects. So my guess here is that this is the actual sun with some sun coming from over here, backlighting subjects. More again of that heavy film stock.
What do you know about me?
And then it goes away. That's the interesting thing to me, is that the film stock look actually just disappears. And I'm wondering what's going on. I'm wondering if, I don't know what this movie was shot on. I didn't want to look before reacting to this. There might be a format change, maybe partway through the movie. I know that like some films will do a format change to express the psychological state of the main character. At the beginning, you can tell there's a time jump because he's bald. At the beginning of the trailer, when he's in the siege, there's like a ton of this like film grain look. There's halation on the edges of the backlight, but here it's really clean, and it makes me wonder if they changed the format going from like film or simulated film to digital to like show Paul's psychological change as he becomes more surgical and precise and calculated. So does the look. I don't know. Could also be when he's like deep in the spice, when he's lost in the sauce, they add some extra grain. I'm not sure. Great. This looks great.
You've conquered the galaxy.
Soft overhead lighting.
You've destroyed thousands of worlds.
Sunlight. This is cool. I like this. This is way different than regular Dune. I mean, the first two movies. I'm not sure, if it really jumps out to people, but what's happening here is Linus is not afraid to use harsh light to create harsh shadows and drama. The previous two Dune movies, I'd argue, look beautiful. And the shadows are really soft and the lighting is really soft. Whereas a lot of the shots that I'm noticing here, it's like everything is super harsh. And I think that's good. People complain about, the way big corporate movies light, how flat everything is. And that's a whole topic for a different day about dynamic range. But I'm noticing here, Linus isn't afraid to really push the dynamic range in the camera, giving it more of like a traditional film camera feel where we have really harsh edges and really contrasty shadows. And the data is still there. It's beautiful. The data is still there, but we're actually getting what looks like polarized light, hard shadows. This is probably a set extension in the back. And the light is supposed to be coming through what they're suggesting is a window here that's creating harsh shadows on the ground that I think add a ton of visual interest as they're walking around. That's beautiful.
I think you're way beyond.
Again, pretty bright directional light, creating split down the face. I've noticed that throughout this trailer, there's a lot of half-light going on the face. This is nice. Oh, look at this. This is cool. You can literally see how this is lit. You can just see where it comes from. Obviously, they hazed up the room to get this this atmospheric volume. You can actually see how they're lighting the room just like through these holes. They've got soft light on Timmy C here, and they've got harsh light coming through to give a kicker light to Duncan. Now, one thing that you'll notice is like a constant theme throughout this trailer is a kicker light. Almost everyone isn't just backlit, but has a little bit of a kicker on the side of their face. A little bit of this here. Looks good. It seems like a stylistic choice for sure. They're going by a good rule for Timmy C's composition where we're going soft on the face and hard on the body. Here they're giving kicker light to Duncan. I think it looks great, but it really exposes everyone nicely. We have some drama for Duncan, and we have some nice diffused light on Timmy's face, creating a little bit of a light wrap sandwich on each side, a little halo, and a harsher light, the one that's giving Duncan the kicker on his body. So I think that looks extremely dynamic, and the set piece is great.
Why are you here?
To deliver a peace proposal.
Peace is a
The outdoor scenes, I mean, Greig Fraser and Denis Villeneuve made such a strong visual language with the way that they portrayed Arrakis in the movie. So it's lit pretty similarly. I mean, there's small differences stylistically, and that's just going to happen from DP to DP. But
is a good thing.
part of the visual language.
Why should I refuse?
This shot to me kind of represents what the style of the lighting is all about here. Not to mention the camera work. I mean, I've been talking about lighting a ton, but the camera work's also beautiful. This to me kind of wraps up the principle of the lighting in this movie, or at least in this trailer, is that he's not afraid to blow out the background to create a realistic sense of the light. Obviously, maybe a lot more modern movies would have like filled this room, and with like modern camera dynamic range would have had this background fully exposed, and also would have had this the information in the shadows fully exposed, and everything would have kind of felt flat. But this is dynamic. Older movies that we're used to seeing blow out the background a little bit because they didn't have the dynamic range to expose literally everything in a shot. So we have some hard light here. We had data. You can see the palm trees. It looks very nice. It's still modern and cinematic. But you have the background, the highlights here blown out to a degree. Still nice. And then you have the rest of the room filled moderately with some edges painting these guys, and just enough data in the shadows to be able to see the ripples in the clothes and her face. I think this idea pretty much encapsulates what they're trying to go for in this movie, which is it doesn't need to be flat. It can be dynamic. We can blow out the highlights. We can have harsh edges. The sun is bright. Not a lot of diffusion happening on the backlights. It's bright. Kicker light, again, we can see some spots here are pretty hot. You can see some polarized light on the mouth. Sweat, I don't know.
Because it's meant to destroy you.
Right. This is interesting. This is cool because sunsets are really hard to get, kind of going back to that dynamic lighting piece, that dynamic range piece, where you have to get the highlights from the low sun, so it's not very bright, and then you have to get the data of the shadows, and to crunch that all into one shot, it's extremely difficult. So given that they're not actually showing the sun, because the sun would be blown out if you have to get all of this shadowy data, I'm assuming this is a real sunset, and they didn't have like a big boom with a giant light, big truck overhanging. And they're not really pointing into the actual sun. So they have, they've exposed the camera to get just enough shadowy data for these guys.
They plan to strike at the core of Imperial power.
This is good. Harsh light in space. There's no diffusion in space. So this is good.
You intend to kill Paul?
Hello, this is interesting. People I saw online were comparing this shot to like the Technicolor look. It's pretty cool. You can see that there's bright polarized light happening here. I say polarized, maybe it's not polarized, but I mean, it's hot. We have hot spots on the face, which I think is cool. It's like not extremely diffused. Another split shot again, another split face. This is cool. We've got another kicker light. We love kicker lights in Dune 3. There's probably a guy holding on to a big panel of neg right outside of the camera here, providing the shadow down his face. We might have a little top-down light, a little spotlight just coming through to highlight the hair, because there seems to be a bit of shadow here between the kicker light and his hair, so I think that's a different light. And then we have either a low-angle bounce or a low-angle fill-in light. And I say low-angle because you can see that there's no shadows under his chin, or at least very little shadow. So it's not extremely low-angle. It's not a horror movie, but it's definitely filling in between this kicker light and the neg. I don't know. I want to say that it's bounced, but it looks pretty harsh. So part of me wonders if it's actually a directional light. You can see these hot spots here reflecting off of his skin. It makes me think it's actually directional.
Regime change.
This is a nice shot. I saw people comparing this to Lawrence of Arabia as well. I think this is a really beautiful shot. I think the blue background is really weird and interesting, like for the context. Kind of looks like a photo studio shoot, but it's not supposed to be, so I think that's cool. As far as the lighting, again, we have strong, not extremely diffused directional light coming from a side angle, giving her Rembrandt lighting that you can identify with this triangle in the face here. Rembrandt lighting isn't really considered to be like beauty lighting. It's not super complimentary on the face, but they're talking about killing Paul. They're talking about killing her husband, I think. Not that they love each other, but their husband. And they're talking about killing Paul. And so I think it makes sense that this conversation between these two people planning an assassination isn't going to make her look super beautified. It's gritty. And there's an ominous light coming from somewhere that's giving her this Rembrandt lighting. Looks great. Costume looks great. Patch light in the eyes.
We've just signed our death
Other kicker. Neg. Fill. Kicker. Very standard.
warrants.
A lot big. I'd call that a backlight, but that's if I go back here.
Signed our death warrants.
I'd call that a kicker as well when she turned around, but I mean, that looks cool.
I found someone.
That looks cool. Green screen relative volume. Maybe they built that memo. This light, I think, makes sense. This room, I'm assuming it's the same room from Dune 2 where the battle took place. I mean, that's kind of created, like, the lighting in that room kind of created, it was almost part of, like, the set design. Like, the cinematic language of that room was really made up of that low-angle, harsh, but soft shadow sunlight. So it makes sense that it would look the same. If anything, I would actually just say that the light's a bit harsher. The shadows are a bit harsher. Like, you can see that it's the light on the face isn't as soft as in Dune 2.
The future has a way of talking to me.
More of that film stock look. Context, I don't know.
I can't see what's ahead.
How does it feel to be human like everyone else, Paul Atreides?
You have no fear, do you?
That's just a cool shot. Interesting that the red looks a little bit orange. I noticed that about the princess's lips as well. I thought that was just maybe a color thing. Colorist thing.
I fear dishonor.
Another harsh kicker light, but that's from the same.
So
Again, here, just harsh light. It's gritty. It isn't beautiful. And I mean that it is beautiful. It isn't beautified. It's gritty, it's harsh, it's creating lots of contrast on the face, lots of weird shadows on the face. I think that makes sense for Arrakis.
Like an Atreides.
I've been told I was one.
More of that film grain. More of that film grain.
done.
Oh, look at that. This also, I think, is a good summary of what the approach is lighting-wise to this film, which is we will blow shit out if we want. Obviously, the data is still there. You can see the pores in the skin on his cheek, even at the hottest spot. But no, they're going to make it dynamic. They're not going to make it soft. The sun is bright. It's going to be harsh on the skin. The shadows are really soft here, which I think complements this a ton. I think if this was this hot and the shadow side of the face was as dark as some of the other shots in this film, it wouldn't have been as complimentary. But this very strong directional light here, just a normal side light, with, I'm assuming, some kind of bounce a few feet away from the subject, maybe at a bit of like a 45 or 25, 45, whatever degree angle, really telling of the approach here for that close up. Cool, and so that's it. The approach to Dune 3 is the sun exists, lights are bright and harsh, not everything is soft. Greig Fraser's Dune 1 and 2 are beautiful. They are inspiring. I think Greig Fraser has changed modern cinema forever. But this is different. I'm not comparing good or bad. I'm not comparing the two as far as overall quality. Obviously, Greig Fraser is a genius. But this is my analysis of the approach for this film from this DP in general. When you look at his other work, there's a lot of harsh light being used and a lot of strong contrasty shadows. And so I think the approach here to this movie was the sun is bright, and this is a thriller, and it's gritty. So we're making bright sunlight and gritty contrast and shadows. Yeah, the sun is bright.